Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Ladies Room Talk Show. So very excited that you're here with us tonight. Hey, I missed you guys last week. I sure did. But guess what? A lot of you who follow me, you know that I was in a stage play, and man, it was so much fun. Big kudos and a big shout out to Mark Raby with Encore Theater for inviting me to play the role of Nancy Harris. And it was hilarious, the role that I was able to play. And the really funny thing about it is that Nancy, her personality was very close to mine naturally. Not quite there, but kind of, sort of. So it was really fun to play that character. Again, Mark Grady with Encore Theater and Gallery of Birmingham, Alabama. We were able to run a 6-show run. We started on Thursday, so we had one Thursday, Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 2 on yesterday. So you can just about imagine how I'm probably feeling right now, but I'm still so pumped up because there is an encore show. So many people said, "Hey, Clarissa, I hate I missed it. I had something else going on this weekend. I hate I missed it." Well, we're having an encore show because there were so many people who said they missed Grown Men Issues, the stage play. So we were able to talk Mark Raby into having an encore show at Encore Theater. Now, we're doing this because you said you wanted to see the show. So that's why we're going to be having the encore show. So we want you guys to show up because we're having this encore show for you. So be sure to go ahead to encorebeham.org. That's encorebeham.org and order your tickets today. It's going to be best for you to do that because it's so many people who want to do it, and we will sell that show out. I know that we will. We've done it already with this run, and it's real easy to do. So don't wait until to get it at the walk-up. To get your tickets, pre-order, go online now and get those. And I would get probably 2 at a time because there's so many people talking about it. And Grown Men Issues, the stage play, is the buzz in Birmingham, Alabama. So you don't want to miss that show. It's going to be a great show, great lineup of awesome cast members. And again, big kudos to Mark Raby of Encore Theater and Gallery. He is the author and creator and director of this magnificent stage play. You certainly don't want to miss it. So go out there to Encore Theater and Gallery, go to their Facebook page, check it out, and go ahead and get those tickets, guys. So we're going to look forward to seeing you at the Encore show this Thursday at 7:00 p.m. So kudos to them as well. If you're joining a live here tonight, go ahead and share this live with your network of friends. Also, we want to welcome our YouTube family. Hey, guys, be sure to share this also with your network of friends, because we're talking about something tonight that's going to really hit home with a lot of people. Guys, we're talking about autism. Autism Awareness Month is the month of April, and I'm so excited about having my awesome guest here tonight. You know, my word is awesome, so I may overuse that time and time again, but I love the word. But I think it's very befitting for who we have coming on the show tonight. Alice Miller is the mother of an autistic son, and so I want her to come in, share her story, share her journey from the very beginning, that when she first realized that her son was autistic, all the way up to adulthood, because as I understand it, he is an adult now. And so there's another way of parenting adult children. And then of course, I'm sure there's another way of parenting adult children with autism. So I'm so excited about having her home to show tonight. Be sure to share this with your network of friends, because you never know who's a part of your network of friends on Facebook, YouTube, who is a parent of a child who has autism. So you want to be able to share this information to people so we can help folks all across the world. So without further ado, I want to welcome back to the first time here to the Ladies Room Talk Show, Alice Miller. Hello, Miss Alice.
Hello, everybody.
Yes,
Hello.
I'm so excited about you being here tonight.
Just want to share a little bit of my journey with you and everybody that's tuning in.
All right. Well, we're glad that you're here tonight, and glad that you're being so open to share your journey with the Ladies Room Talk Show. I think it's something that a lot of people need to know about. I have a very dear friend who actually relocated to Florida from Alabama, because the Alabama's education department really wasn't very equipped to handle autism at the time when she learned that her son had it. So she went to Florida, and he's been able to thrive there with autism. Florida, she did research, so she realized that Florida was very strong with awareness of autism and was able to provide resources to parents who had it and for the children. So, but since that time, Alabama is starting to, kind of step up their game as it relates to that. So, I'm very excited again, Alice, that you're coming in and talking to us about autism. So, my question to you, Alice, is, how did you feel? Let me ask you this. With your son, what was it about his behavior or things about him that made you say, you know what? I think I want to take him in to kind of get some things checked out.
Well, when he was born, I knew that he was different from my older son.
Mm,
Uh, Quiet, would not maintain eye contact, uh,
okay.
no facial expression, not happy, not sad, uh, no social interaction whatsoever, really did not want to be touched. So, uh, being an educator and mom, I knew something was different.
Okay. Okay. So you're saying at the time of birth, or did it take you maybe about a week or two to kind of see that there's
Well,
something different?
well, actually, with my son, it was about, I'd say maybe 6 weeks. About 6 weeks into it, I knew that it was different.
Hmm. So you said no eye contact, not a lot of expression, and you're an educator. So I've always been that girl to go in and do research. I was that mom that got the book, What to Expect When You're Expecting. So every month I wanted to be ahead of the month. So I knew what was going on with the trimesters and, overthinker type chick. But, I was always getting my research. So I'm sure by you having a son already, you knew at 2 weeks, this should be taking place. In
Mhm.
1 month, this should be taking place. So you're saying within 6 weeks, you were able to notice that there was a little difference there. So that's probably about a month and a half into him being here. You were able to kind of see some things. So at that time, did you take him to the doctor and kind of get an evaluation done? And when you did what did they say? Because your son is an adult right now. My
Mhm.
friend's son is probably in high school now. So your son is a little bit older. Um, did they identify anything right then?
No.
Mm,
Originally, they said that he was born prematurely. That he would catch up, but it would be later than my older son.
mhm,
Um, and true enough, everything, he walked later, he talked later, he was potty trained later. Everything that they said uh, that he would not do, he did do. He just did
hmm.
it a little bit later.
Well, okay, okay, huh? And so, how old was he when you were able to actually get a diagnosis?
He was 3 years old
Mm,
at age three. At
okay.
age three, I knew something was not right. Um, I just could not put my finger on it. For years, they would tell me that it was something else. Mental retardation,
Right.
developmental delays. Because at that time, like you said earlier, Alabama was not, uh, as up on autism as they are now. We have a really, really, really good system now for getting your children in early intervention in Alabama.
Right.
Um, but just some things that I knew and I could feel. I felt that something that it was, more than just developmental delay.
Hmm. So when they diagnosed him at 3, um, what were the next steps from then?
Well, I being an educator, I knew that early intervention was going to be the key for him because he did not want to speak. He didn't like to communicate. And as today, he still doesn't communicate a whole
Yeah.
lot.
Right.
You have to talk to him. Uh, he's not going to initiate a conversation with you.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I started on my journey, um, getting him evaluated. So he wasn't school age yet. So I started with Children's Hospital. We started with speech therapy at 4. And by the time he was at 5, getting ready, almost 6, we went to Epic Elementary
Okay.
School, uh, 3 days a week for speech and to work on social interactions. Um, then he went on into kindergarten, still a little bit behind, but I saw some progress. And I knew then that the key to having success with Alex would be
Mm-hmm.
to make sure that the learning and everything was structured and that we did everything at the same time every day.
Okay.
So,
So Alex, let me ask you this because I want to dig into how you felt personally. Because you had a son who did not have autism, and now you have one that does. How did you feel as a mother? What space did that put you in?
in a really, really, really bad space
Mhm.
because you think automatically that there is something that you did or something that you didn't do.
Mhm.
And there's always a fear. You have that fear that, uh, well, if something happens to me, what's
Right.
going to happen to my child?
Mm.
So, uh, my family as a whole, my mom, my dad, his dad, and my in laws, we always pushed Alex to do
Mhm.
his best. We pushed him to learn and to do things,
Right.
um, to interact with people. Like I said, because he's very, very, very shy, doesn't like to be touched,
Mm.
and all of those things. It was just textbook autism.
Mhm. Mhm. Now I know that there are several levels of autism. Would you say that he was more of a severe, mild, or kind of moderate?
Moderate.
Moderate. Okay.
Mhm.
And how old is Alex now?
He's 29.
Wow. Okay. So he's 29. And how are things going with him? Is he independent? Does he live on his own? Or how is he managing as far as self-sufficiency is concerned?
When he was in high school, we got connected with vocational rehab,
Okay.
and he had a job coach and a counselor that took him out, and they searched out a position for him. He is working now. He works 3 days a week.
Okay.
He's an employee at Yo Mama's on Second Avenue North,
Okay.
and he works. He's holding down a job, and he's been there going almost 3 years. Uh,
Look, people that don't have autism can't say that. You know what I'm saying? It's hard these days for people to hold on to a job. He must really be a good employee.
uh, just show him one time how to do
Mm.
something, and
Mhm.
he can do it. He can
I
do it.
love it. I love it. So how does that make you feel as a parent, as an adult, as a parent to an adult? Because there's different ways, and some people that may not have children yet, they don't realize that you're always a parent, but there's different ways of parenting adult children. And so it's a little different for you because you're parenting an adult child, but still with a moderate case of autism. So how do you know when you are being overbearing, and when do you know to kind of step back and let him be a man?
Well, I think that it's natural to be overbearing because you
Right.
want to emphasize the point or what you're trying to get across to him. Uh, and he'll say, okay, Ma, I got it. And he'll let me know, okay,
Right.
Ma, okay, I got it. But it's just a feeling that you have inside where you want to be sure
Hmm.
that your child is going to be able to sustain themselves and
Right.
be able to live in the event that something does happen to you. And
Hmm.
it's a fear. You carry it around with you. But you have to let them kind of spread their wings and do the things that they are able to do.
So how do you feel now as it relates to his progress? Do you feel comfortable that he's being able to operate sufficiently independent of you?
I feel real good about that because
Good,
I
good.
know I know some children, I know some babies, autistic babies that that are his age now, uh, that have not reached the level that they are able to go out and work uh,
Hmm.
and go to school. Some of them don't ever go to school and graduate from school. He graduated from high school. Uh, wants to work. He wants to be self sufficient.
Right.
So it just takes the right person, the right
Hmm.
boss. uh, he needs to be with someone who understands uh, autism, uh, a disability, or special need, period, uh,
Hmm.
and is willing to give them a chance.
Right.
So
Well, I think also, Alice, that it has a lot to do with you and your parenting. Um, Even with children who are not autistic, as parents, sometimes we can become more of a crutch to our children than an aid. And sometimes we like to baby our boys. I have two. So but and then there's times when you have to say, okay, let me shake this nest up so you can jump out this nest and fly. And so I think it has a lot to do with you and being able to keep him, to recognize his independency as an adult, and then also to recognize his independency as a man. And that's the key. I can't imagine you really raising either one too much differently than the other. Other than there's obviously the autistic component with it, but as far as raising them as a man, I'm sure both characteristics remain the same.
that exactly. And
Mhm.
my mom told us, would stress to our family early on that, hey, uh, we're going to treat him just like we treat the other one. There's differences, but
Right.
we've got to allow him a chance to grow, a
Mhm.
chance to spread his wings, a chance to learn, a chance to fly, a
Yeah.
chance to get out there and do whatever he can do to the best of his ability.
Hmm. What would be your recommendation for people who um, have that just learned that their child is autistic? What would be your best advice to them?
I would the very first thing you need to do is get a really good evaluation.
Mm.
Uh, a couple of agencies that are around Autism Speaks, National Autism Association, and there is one local, ABC. applied behavior counseling.
Okay.
They do good assessments, uh, so you can get a treatment plan. Once
Mm,
you get a good treatment plan, you can do that in school, or you can do it at home.
right.
They give parents training as to how to do a schedule, uh, so you can increase social skills. Once you get the social skills under control, you can then work on the negative behaviors, uh,
Mm,
and increase the positive behaviors. And then you can look at their overall functioning, to see
okay.
how you can best uh, make life better for any particular child.
Mm, mm. I like that. And so how would you tell them how to handle the emotional part of it?
The emotional part of it, for me, uh, things got better for me once I saw that he was making progress.
Mm,
It lightens the load. It makes things easier, uh, especially when you see, okay, well, he might not be able to uh, hold down a full time job,
right.
or he might not be able to go to college,
Mm,
but he's doing the best that he can.
mm, mm. I like that. And so, did as a parent, did you feel the need to go through any counseling so that you
I,
can kind of come to grips with, okay, this is what it is. How do I navigate through this?
I did.
Mm,
I did early on. I did because I was having problems dealing with it. And
mm,
then there is always the fear that, this child is going to be dependent on me or someone,
right.
for the remainder of his life.
Mhm.
And what did I do? And you start
Wow.
beating yourself up.
Yeah.
So I went and I got some counseling early on,
Mhm.
and I working with my mom and the counselor at his school, and the therapist. We decided, look, we're just gonna make the best out of this, and we're
Right.
gonna let Alex do what he can do, and let him fly. I had to let go.
And so, I once heard someone say that sometimes we can hold on so tightly to a problem to where after a while the problem has gotten a hold of us. And so, and I like the fact that you mentioned that you did seek counsel. And I think that that will be a good thing for any and everyone who's come into this type of situation. And sometimes within the Black community, we're like, I'm not going to need counsel. I ain't crazy, that type of stuff. But that's not what it is. Counseling is good for when you're in this area and you're trying to figure this thing out. And sometimes you need that extra understanding as to, okay, I'm stuck. I need to figure out what's going on, get to the root of it so that you can move forward. And
Mhm.
so I like the fact that that you did go through counseling, and that's something that some parents may not have done yet. And so I would recommend that if you are on the first phase of this and you're understanding and realizing that your child is autistic, then first, in order to help them, you have to kind of help yourself. Wrap your head around the fact that this is taking place. I think if a parent is in denial, then it causes problems with that communication with your son or with your daughter if you're in denial of it.
Okay.
Now we've done a little research in the past. Last year we did Autism Awareness Month, and we grew to find out, Alice, that autism is more prevalent in Black males.
Nails.
Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think I've run into an autistic. Well, I take that back. When I did substitute teaching, fresh out of college, in the Birmingham City school systems, I would go and do the substitute teaching in the special needs classes, and I did run into a young girl who had it, but she was very very high functioning, but she did have autism. So, do you know? Did they tell you what may cause it, or because I'm sure that was probably the first question for you?
No,
Mm.
they just said it was a developmental difference in the brain.
Okay.
And that's the best way that they could explain it to me. You know, there's difference in genetics. Sometimes things don't exactly meet up. Uh, Genes are not perfect.
Mhm.
And when you have a disability, uh, a birth defect, it's just something that they can't explain it. They just told me it was a developmental difference,
Hmm.
something that happened in his brain.
I see. Okay. Huh. These will be interesting to find a little bit more information if it's out there on that. Now, with Alex, is he living on his own, or do you have the house in such a way that he has his own little man cave?
He does. He lives with me.
Okay, okay. So he has his own independent space. Now,
Mhm.
does he lock you out of that space, Alice, or do you have free reigns to kind of come and
Well,
go?
he is a neat freak. Everything has to be lined up, shoes
Mm,
in his place, uh, his shirts are together, uh, his jeans are together. Uh, he's got his own way of doing, of lining up his clothes, his
right.
shoes. Uh, Very, very neat and very, very clean.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very nice. There was a show several years ago. I think it was before the pandemic that I used to watch, and it was centered around the medical industry. And there was a young man who was a doctor, and he had autism, but he was a very, very good surgeon. And I watched episode after episode. I was just drawn to that show because I enjoyed the level of intelligence that he had, and the way he saw things was so much different than what one of the normal physicians would see, which made him one of the most sought after physicians and surgeons on that show. And so, have you seen that? Did you see that show?
Mm-mm.
I have to remember the name of it and I'll text it to you later. But I thought it was an amazing show. And I think it's on Netflix. But it was a really good show to watch. Because I know that different levels. I'll say this: he was one. He really didn't like a lot of emotion. He did not like to be touched as well.
Mm-mm.
But as the show went on, there were pockets of times where he did show emotion. There are pockets of times when he cried and didn't know what was this coming from his eyes. He just couldn't understand why it was happening. So there were pockets of times. Do you see pockets of times, Alice, where Alex may show some emotion, or maybe don't mind you touching him on the back for a couple of seconds? Do you find those pockets of time?
Just a few.
Okay, okay.
Just a few.
Okay. So in your mind, is that saying, okay, we're making progress in this area, or maybe that was an isolated incident?
Well, I think we made a lot of progress in that area.
Hmm.
Uh, he he doesn't cry.
Okay.
Uh, he does smile. Now he laughs.
Hmm.
He lets you know when he's unhappy. So he has made a lot of progress.
Oh, very good. Very good. And guess what, Alice? My good friend Janice gave me the name of it. It's called The Good Doctor. Thank you, Janice. I guess she was a fan too. The Good Doctor. Alice, you need to watch that. And I think you can watch all of the episodes on on Netflix. But now when you start that first one, you're gonna become addicted. So don't get mad at me if you can't do anything else but watch The Good Doctor for the next year. But it's a good show. I would advise watching it. It was just really, really good. Let's see what Janice had another comment here. Let's see. She said, I still look at it. It comes to okay. So I'm missing out on a lot of the updated versions. So I'm gonna go back on Netflix and watch it on demand. But it was just a really good, a very good show. I think you'll enjoy it. It was a really good show. I want to go and hit some questions that we have from the audience here tonight. Allison Sanders says, do you know of adult facilities for autistic people? You named the schools. I think you did name some of the resources and some of the other options to help with that. She also has, what do parents need to know about their educational rights with autistic children? And what schools are equipped for autistic children? Those are two good questions.
Okay. Educational rights for special education applies to the wide range of children that we serve, whether it be autistic, learning disabled, ID, speech impaired. The children have a legal right to have a free and appropriate education. And if they're school age, that is to be provided by the school system in which the parent resides. For autistic older adults, there are some settings such as Glenwood.
Yes.
There are some other residential settings where you can, get a place for your baby. There are some homes, some living situations where they can go and get training, but it's all going to be geared to self-sufficiency.
Okay.
So there are some schools that are designated for autistic. They have autistic classes, autism classes. You have to just go through the eligibility process, and they will, determine what is the least restrictive environment for that particular child.
Okay. Alice, do you feel like you have received quality assistance during this process?
I do.
Okay.
I do.
Good. Very good. Let's see here. Oh, and she also mentioned there's some free training out there as well. And then also, let's see here. Deborah Alexander mentioned that she does have a son. And correct me if I'm wrong, Deborah, your son does have autism. And just kind of put that in the chat if we're understanding that to be correct. And if so, that's really good that she's on the show so that she can maybe share a few things during the comment as well, or kind of amen some of the things that you're sharing, Alice, as being a form of what she has dealt with as well. Let's see. The question made me think about the biographical movie Temple Grandin. Did you see that movie? Okay. Very good. I have not seen it yet, but I'm looking forward to doing that. Let's see. Wilma Washington says it's coming on tonight at 9:00 on ABC. Okay, that's probably either I'm thinking The Good Doctor maybe is what she's speaking of. I'm not sure. So we'll get some clarity on that. So I want to kind of see if someone else mentioned that, because we have the comments that are starting to come in. And I'm just so excited because this is such a really good topic here tonight, Alice. And we've had at least 2 instructors from the school system who are chiming in with questions. Yes. Okay. So Deborah says that her son is high functioning. But he does have that. So I'm glad that you're chiming in, Deborah. I hope that you're sharing the live on your network of friends with Facebook so that people can learn even more about autism, how to deal with it, the journey of a parent. So question for you, Alice. Do you see Alex getting married?
I really don't.
Okay. Okay. Why do you say that?
I just think that the attraction is there. I just don't know how he would um, handle feelings,
Mm-hmm.
emotions,
Mm-hmm.
um, and he's so easygoing. I'm just afraid that he would be taken advantage of.
I tell you what, as a mom of two sons, I feel that way about my sons too, and they don't have autism. I feel the same way. I think it's probably just a natural concern, especially when you raise children that, when you raise sons who are very loving and very kind young men and very mannerable. So I feel you on there. So we do. My oldest son did get engaged a couple of weeks ago, and we love her. So we have been blessed with a good one for him. So we got another one that we're looking to now. So, but we've been blessed with that one. But yeah, so I think it'll be interesting if he were to meet someone, Alice, and bring her home and see what you thought about it. I'm sure she'd have to go through the third degree. But how would you look at that?
I would embrace it
Okay.
because I want him to be happy.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be really, really nice. That would be nice. I'm gonna keep in contact with you so you can text me and say, girl, you'll never believe what happened. You must have talked this girl up. So let's talk about, Alice. A lot of times when parents experience certain things, that puts them on this journey of being an advocate for whatever it is that they're dealing with. Have you found yourself in that space yet?
Oh, I from age 3, I had to be,
Mm-hmm.
um, because they were just, the school system was telling me, well, um, it's just gonna take some time. This is gonna get better. I don't think he needs this. He doesn't need speech. He doesn't need OT. And I knew better.
Mm-hmm.
He does. Uh, and you're going to make sure that he receives it.
Right, right. So, how important is it? And you may have probably already answered it as you're talking. How important is it to stand up for what you know is correct? Because I'm sure by them telling you, oh, it's just fine, it's just this, it's just that, you wouldn't let it go. Now you're an instructor, so there's certain things that you look at and you're looking for because of your natural gifting as a school teacher or as an instructor. What about some of those who may not have that particular gifting? What would be some of the things that you would tell them to do to stand up and not take what the first thing that someone says to them about their child?
It's like when you go to the doctor and you get a diagnosis. Uh, my mom used to say you need a second opinion
Mm,
about anything that concerns you, your health, or your child.
right.
Uh, and in order for you to make sure that your child receives the services, uh, therapies, the type of environment that will best fit his learning or
Mm-hmm.
her learning, you have to say, look, um, let's look at the test results
Mm-hmm.
and see what do we need to do in order to make sure that my child is making progress, that my child is learning,
Right.
and oftentimes, the parent is the one to make sure that those things are done.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely are your child's best advocate.
Were there ever times when you felt like, I don't think this is going to get any better?
Yes.
Mm,
Yes, when he was about 16,
mm,
he just, was withdrawn and just really didn't care about being around people. Um, he was always really neat and clean, but didn't care about dressing up and going out and being with people his age.
mm.
So, but his older brother and his sister kind of helped me out with that situation.
Right,
So
right.
they started taking him out and you know taking him to some events, sporting events, and uh, concerts and shows and things like that. And then he started going to church, and so he's a little bit more social, uh,
Mhm.
and enjoys doing things with his brother and sister.
Okay, very good. I'm so excited about this show tonight because some people aren't really, they're probably at a space where they're just in the beginning stages of learning that their child has autism, so they're still trying to get it together, or they may be at a place where they're far surpassed all this and they just don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm glad that we're able to talk to you because he's still young enough for you to, talk about what the journey that you've gone on, but he's also old enough for you to help parents who may be having a tough time cutting, well, I won't say cutting the apron strings, but maybe loosening them up a little bit. I'll say that. That's probably a better uh, a statement to make because you do have to loosen them up. And so, do you find it hard to do that,
It
or
is.
you're just, yeah,
It's
yeah,
hard, very
mm-hmm,
difficult,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
because
Now,
you
does he?
always you always feel you need to protect them,
Right.
uh, but you also need to make them aware, uh,
Mm-hmm,
as much as you possibly can, that this might not be the right thing to do.
uh-huh,
Uh, you know, well, if something happens, then you need to talk about it. Let's talk about it.
right.
Uh, and you want to protect them, but you also want them to be able to make some decisions on their own.
Mm-hmm,
And my hope and prayer for my child was that hopefully one day he would be able to sustain himself,
mm-hmm,
to be able to go and work a job, uh, to be able to get to work by himself, be
mm-hmm.
able to get home by himself. And that was
Okay.
my prayer for my son.
Very good. So, how is he with money management?
Not good.
There again, that's probably a lot of people who may not be good with it. Okay, okay. So, but he's aware that he does get a certain amount of money every 2 weeks or every
Hmm.
week, and
Hmm.
is able to kind of do a little bit as he like as far as purchasing certain items and that sort of thing. So,
Hmm.
is there a next level of training that you're seeking for him, or do you think that where he is right now is the extent of it?
No, I want to work with his counselor at vocational rehab and maybe look at some experiences where he can go and live independently.
Mm, okay, okay, that would be great. Do you think he would be receptive?
He hasn't been.
Oh
We're
yeah.
talking about it. We're discussing it.
Okay. And what is his thoughts?
Uh, I'm at home. I'm here with you. I don't need to
Right.
go live anywhere else.
Mm. Wow. So are you trying to get his you making that decision, is it going to be contingent upon whether he wants to or not, or is it contingent upon this is what needs to take place?
What needs to take place?
Mm. Hmm. Well, just call me so we can pray. You're gonna need a little prayer as it relates to that, because that's gonna be a tough one. But I'm so happy that you're doing that, and then there are resources out there to make that happen. I believe that uh, I'm hoping that one day he'll be able to a place that he'll be able to talk about it, and that there's continued resources out there to help in training him to become even more self-sufficient, to be able to maybe get, come to and fro. And it may not be him driving, but, hey, we're in a world of Ubers and Lyfts right now. So, you can have that.
Speaking of driving,
Mhm.
I got sick one day and I couldn't drive, and he drove me home.
No, really?
So he can drive.
It's amazing what we put our minds to when we have to do it. Wow. Nice. Has that been the only time?
His brother will, let him drive up and down the street,
Mhm.
turn around and, practice. But I
Right.
was shocked because I didn't know he could drive.
Wow. Wow. And a lot, I'm sure, just watching you and looking at you and seeing what you do. It's funny how we assume our children don't know a lot of things that they know. You know, they do because they're so attentive.
Mhm.
Oh, that's pretty neat. Do you think, I don't know if they're adults or children or teens who are driving with a license? Is that something that's possible, or is that considered a handicap and that it prevents one from being able to drive?
Well, what we're going to do this summer is get him in a driving class,
Okay.
and it's through vocational rehab. They're going to
Hmm.
put him through some training and
Okay.
do some simulated driving things with him, and just
Okay.
see how he does. And then we're going to go over to DMV, and there is a lady there that's going to actually go out with him and try to give him a test.
Wow. Oh, that's going to be great. We're going to follow Alex with this journey because I think that's great. That gives you that sense of independency where you don't have to wait for people to take you places. You can get in the car and go yourself. So that's going to be really neat. I'm looking forward to checking that out. Miss Washington says that The Good Doctor will be on tonight at 9 o'clock on ABC. So if you have an opportunity, Alice, I would watch that, and you'll know which doctor I'm talking about. He's the youngest one on there, but he has autism, and so it's going to be really good for you to see that and see how functioning he is and how he kind of gets around with other people that he's working with. It's very interesting, but I think you'll enjoy it. You'll enjoy it. Well, Alice, I want to thank you so much for hanging out with us inside the ladies' room. This is your first time being here, but we certainly don't want it to be your last time. Want you to come in. I'm sorry.
It won't be.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about. So you can come in and just give us more of an update with Alex, especially when he gets his license. We're excited about that, and then when he goes to his apartment or his independent living, because we want to know how you are doing through that process. That's going to be good. And there again, that'll be something that we can share with those parents who are parents of adult children with autism, because that's a journey. And I'm glad that you've opened up your life to share it with us. That this has been a beautiful night.
It's been a pleasure.
Yes, thank you so much, Alice. We appreciate that. Thank you for hanging out with us inside the ladies' room here. You have an open door. Anytime you want to come hang out with me, you are welcome to come.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And guys, listen, I want to remind you that this Thursday, the Encore Theater will be having an encore show for grown man issues. Be sure to go out there to encore beham.org. I think that's what it is. But go to Encore Theater and Gallery, check out the Facebook page, and go ahead and see that link, because the show will be an encore show this Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. Listen, go online to get your tickets. Do not wait. Do not wait. Do not walk up to get those tickets, because you run the risk of it being sold out, because it could certainly happen. It's already happened. It happened this weekend. So you don't want to wait on that. But this encore show, remember, it is for you, because you're saying, hey, I missed it. Everybody's talking about it. I want to come see the show. Well, we have worked it out with Mark Raby of Encore Theater and Gallery. The show will be an encore show this Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. You don't want to miss the show. I promise you, it's a must see. And if you've already seen it and you want to see it again, guess what? You can see it again. That's what we call it, encore. All right, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us inside the Ladiez Room Talk Show. And we're certainly going to be able to see you back here next week on another great show. And be sure to tell all of your family and friends that the Ladiez Room Talk Show will be back 7 o'clock p.m. next week. And I think we may talk a little bit more about autism, since it's Autism Awareness Month. I think we may talk a little bit more about that. So, guys, thank you so much for joining me. Alice, again, thank you. Be sure to share this out here with your friends. Let them know you were in the Ladiez Room so they can check you out as well, okay?
Okay, I will.
All
Thanks
all
for
right.
having me.
Oh, absolutely. Anytime. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us, and have a wonderful, great, and safe evening. Good night.
Step into the ladies' room with Clarissa.